All right, page 4 of the study guide, we've got 2 problems to get through. We've got we're comparing polynomials. So in problem number 13, we've got r of x, which we've got a table of values, and we have s of x, which is an equation here. We want to know which has the greater average rate of change for this interval. So on the table of values, I know that my first x value is -3. So I want this ordered pair right here. And my second x value is 1, so I want this ordered pair right here. So if I write those out, we've got -3, 9, and we have 1, 1. So I'm going to use slope to find my average rate of change. So I'm going to take my second y minus my first y over my second x minus my first x. Be really careful with the signs there. And if you're in doubt, grab either Desmos or Calculate84 to help you out. So 1 minus 9 is -8. 1 minus -3 is actually going to be 1 plus 3, which is 4. So this average rate of change is -2. So that's fine and dandy. This has a little bit more difficulty to it, simply because we don't have a table of values to look at. We don't have a graph to look at. So this is where I'm absolutely going to pop up some technology. So I'm going to actually I'm going to go with Desmos for this one. I'll show you how to do Calculate84 on the next one. There we go. All right. So if you watch the third video, I actually was using Desmos for, whoops, that is not what I wanted. Let me see if I can get my graph going here. Oh, there we go. I was using Desmos for a specific problem, so let me delete that out. So what I'm going to do in Desmos is I'm actually going to write this expression. Let me zoom in a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to put this expression into Desmos. Now, right now, there's nothing to write here. So in this little first box here where it says number 1, I'm just going to tap in there, and then all of the writing features pop up down here. So 0.4 times x to the 4th, get out of the exponent there, minus x plus 1. And I don't care what the graph looks like. It has no bearing on this problem in terms of, did I do it right or not? What I do want to check for is, does this equation or expression match this half of the expression here? 0.4 x to the 4th minus x plus 1. It does match, so I did okay. Now, I actually would like to make this into a table of values. So what I'm going to do is come up here and hit the gear. And one of my options is this little table. So I hit the table. Now I have a table of values. Now, I do have 1, but what I don't have is -3. So you can either, you see where this is highlighted and it's already -2, you could write over that. Or I'm going to come down here to this little blank spot, tap in there, and type in -3 there. All right, so my ordered pairs for this function are going to be -3, 34, and +1, 0.4. So 0.4. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and just tap into the next little section of Desmos down here, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using Desmos as a calculator, which will be okay too. All right, so second y value, so 0.4, minus my first y value over second x value minus my first x value. So let's see, 0.4 minus 34 is going to be -33.6 over, and if you wanted to, you could absolutely just tap into the next little section here in Desmos. You can keep doing this as often as you need. So 1 minus -3 is 4, in case you wanted to prove it to yourself. I'm going to use Desmos to do my division here. All right, so 33.6, and I'm going to divide by 4. I get -8.4. Okay, so Desmos has done its job. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I'm going to pinch in here. All right, so this function over here, r of x, had a rate of change of -2. This function has a rate of change of negative 8.4. So when it says greater average rate of change, you are looking for the greater change, the greater amount of change. So dropping 2 is not greater, or decreasing by 2 is not greater than decreasing by negative 8.4. So this is the function that has the greater rate of change. So I'm going to use the highlighter here and circle up the function that has the greater average rate of change. All right, so that's number 13. Let's take a look at 14. Same kind of question. We've got this function over here, a of x, and we have this function over here, b of x, is labeled right here. And again, we want greater average rate of change, but this time we're looking for the interval -3 to -1. So I'm going to start with a of x here, but this time I'm going to show you how to use Calculate 84. Again, it's totally up to you which one you want to use. So Calculate 84 had the last problem in here. I'm just going to clear it all out. And I'm going to take a second. I'm going to zoom in so I can see that a little better. And I'm going to put this function into the calculator. Now, I don't worry about fractions. I just do 1 divided by 2. So x to the third, get out of the exponent there, minus x squared plus 5x, and then minus 6. I want to take a second. So 1/2 x cubed minus x squared plus 5x minus 6. And I want to double check it because if I don't, I am bound to make a mistake and just screw everything up. Now, interval-wise, what were we looking at here? -3 to -1. So I want to know what's happening. Whoops, let me grab a pen here. At -3, and I want to know what's happening at -1. There's a couple of ways to find this. I'm going to go for the, hopefully for me, easy way. And I'm going to go into the table of values. So second and graph here will get me to the table. So second graph. And I already have an x value that's highlighted. I'm going to scroll up until I can get to -3 and -1, and that will give me my information. So -3 is going to be -43.5, and -1 is -12.5. All right, now I'm going to get out of the table of values. So I'm just going to hit clear here. Let's see if that works. Nope. So then hit second and quit. That'll just get you to the normal calculator screen. And I'm going to set up the equation using slope. So second y value minus my first y value. Yes, there's a double negative there. Be careful. Over second x value minus the first x value. Again, double negative. Lots of negative signs. All right, so -12.5 minus -43.5 is going to get me 31. And then -1 minus -3 gets me 2. So 31 divided by 2 is 15.5. All right, so let's see how that compares to the second part, b of x. And I'm going to go ahead and clear out Desmos, or that was calculated before. I don't need it anymore. All right. So I want to know what's happening when x is equal to -3 and when x is equal to -1. So on my graph here, if I start at the origin and I count 1, 2, here's -3 right here. And that's actually where the graph crosses the x-axis. So that ordered pair would be -3, 0. Now, if I come over here to -1, let's see, here's the origin. So here's 0, here's -1. I'm going to follow this up until, let's see, right here. Okay. And that particular point is going to be -1. Let's see, what is that? 5, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So a couple things you could do. You could remember that slope is rise over run. So to get from this point to this point, we had to rise up 12 units, and then we had to run 2 units. So rise over run would equal 6. Or if you're not a big fan of counting it out, and sometimes the numbers are kind of a pain to count, you can absolutely do the same thing we did in the last problem, which is just subtract it out using slope. So your second y minus your first y over your second x minus your first x. So 12 minus 0 is 12. Negative 1 minus negative 3 is 2. 12 over 2 is 6. Now, obviously, we got the same answer, which is what should happen. Okay. So now I know my average rate of change for a of x is 15.5, and I know my average rate of change for b of x is 6. Which one of those is greater? A of x. All right, it is clearly greater to be changing 15.5 per unit than 6, whatever the units on the x-axis would be. All right, so that's the end of the study guide. Please, please, please let me know if you have any questions or concerns prior to the test on Friday, December 11th. All right, Zoom is open all week except for Wednesday.